And actually, that is a slightly distorted view of the gospel. The idea that you can get right with God and you've still got your idols safely in your back pocket, and we'll deal with those at another point. It suggests that getting right with God is purely a doctrinal thing, whereas, of course, as Jesus said, even the demons believe that. So this idea that doctrinal assent is really the only critical thing. We don't really need to address someone's idols now, or even maybe ever, because actually,
Yeah.
how many would say to the rich young ruler, even 5 years in or 10 years in to him having professed faith, now you've got to leave all your money. I mean, we just don't go there. So I think there is we've got a misunderstanding about the gospel, the essence of the gospel. Whereas, as you say, Jesus made a beeline for the idols. It's because it's a thorny issue. It's because it's personal and painful and delicate. It's because it's so close to their sense of identity. That's precisely where the gospel needs to go. That's where we need the treatment of the gospel, because that's ultimately, when someone comes to Christ, it is a shift of allegiance, isn't it? It's turning away from worthless idols, out of the kingdom of darkness, into the kingdom of the Son. And Jesus must be Lord, not just as an idea, but as a reality. And so it's precisely because it's painful. So, this objection, what if there are visitors here? I'm saying it's because there are visitors here. Fantastic. There are visitors here. This is a great opportunity. And I mean that genuinely. When I go to a church and I hear there might be visitors here, I thank the Lord and I pray especially for them. And I always open with a gospel address and I address the unbelievers in the room, whether they've had abortions or not. But something I have seen, as you mentioned it on the streets, we've seen it in the church as well. I've noticed people really lean in when you're talking about a real issue. I think people out there who are serious, who want to know the truth, they're sick of this sort of beige, watered down, uh, never offend anyone kind of messaging. They can get that anywhere. They're getting that all the time. But when they hear, and it doesn't mean, of course, we're not gracious and so on, but actually when they do hear a gracious, thoughtful, but bold and uncompromising treatment of an issue like abortion, which is all around us, actually that's one of the things that can, I think, and perhaps this is very counterintuitive for some, but I think it can actually adorn the gospel. It can show something of the beauty and the power of the gospel, because actually this gospel is big enough